If you want to participate, contact me at ordinarywomenpodcast@gmail.com. I'm sure you have great projects to brag about. You can also follow me and message me on Instagram at Ordinary Women Podcast, on Twitter at Ordinary Women PC, or on Facebook on the page Ordinary Women. Hi everyone, welcome to a new episode of Ordinary Women. I'm welcoming Namita today. Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm good.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really excited to have you here. Can you start by giving us a quick introduction of yourself, please?
Yes, thank you so much for inviting me. This is my first podcast, so quite excited and a little bit
Yay!
nervous as well. So, I live in Maldives. I am an auditor here. I do food safety audit for different resorts. And apart from that, I also write books. I have been writing books for last 13 years now. I have written almost 10 books. Five of them are adult books and five of them are children books. So it has been quite a journey. So yeah, that's pretty much what sums about me from my professional side. And I am Indian, so but I live in Maldives.
Super cool. I cannot wait to hear about all of these and especially the books part. This is so cool. Can you tell us something unusual about yourself?
Well, I never chose writing as my career. It just so happened to me. I never wanted to be a writer. I always thought I would be a mathematician, solving math problems somewhere. But so happened that I ended up choosing this as my career, like one of my side career as or a side hustle. It's so strange. I life sometimes just happens to you and you don't even choose. And that's what I keep on telling people, especially girls, that do not stress so much on like if you do not have any clarity, like as you keep walking step by step, I think life will reveal itself. So it's important to just not pressurize yourself. And I never thought I would even write a word. And here I am looking 13 years back, almost 10 books old. So it has been quite a journey. I never thought I would be here, but here I am. I think that's the most unusual thing. And I guess we will all one day look back and realize, okay, oops, this is what it life would have become. And we didn't even dream that it would be that way.
That's so cool. I have so many questions, but I think that's what we're talking about in like the
Yes.
second part. So I'm gonna save my questions for then. But thank you
Yes.
so much for sharing. Yeah, and I love to do that. I don't know if you do that too, but I love sometimes to just think about where I was 1 year or 2 years or like 5 years ago, and yeah, remember where I wanted to be and see what I've done, what I don't want to do anymore, etc. It's so fun to do.
Yes.
And obviously, on this podcast, we talk a lot about what it's like to be a woman. So I always start by asking, was there a moment or an event in your life when you realized that you are a woman?
A moment. I am really grateful for my parents for them to give us an upbringing where I have a younger brother, where I never felt like there was any difference between him and me, where we both loved equally. We were taught that, oh, we both can go out and conquer um, the world. And it was not like because you're a woman, you can't do XYZ things. Because he was a guy, he can do few things. So I don't think that realization stuck from my parents' side, but definitely when you're going out to schools, there is definitely a subtle difference that you notice. Oh, I'm a girl. Oh, those are boys. Definitely, I think that's where it would have stuck me. But because there was inner layer of confidence given to me because of especially my mother and my family, I think I carried that confidence out there with me, where I never felt like my gender would be a barrier to me to achieve something. And I understand, I think I'm coming from a point of a privilege here, where not a lot of us get that kind of upbringing where their parents are forthcoming, especially to the girls, to give them that kind of confidence, encourage them, and not limit them to their gender specific roles. And that's definitely a privilege. But also, somewhere, obviously, family is one part of the whole thing, but there is also a larger society that we live in. And lot of time, even if it's not coming from the parents, we are definitely living in a very patriarchal world. And lot of time we internalize a lot of the issues that are which is happening out there. And sometimes we might be the one who would be propagating it because we have seen it happening and we think that might be the acceptable case. And a lot of time, a lot of women who have come in my life have pointed it out and told me, okay, this may not be correct. Just to give a very simple instance of what really happened, I think when I was in London, I was studying, doing my master's, and there was the warden or one of the person had this girl. They just decided to support women more and do more initiative where they asked us to gather all the women in the our hostel, and then she started talking about how the gender roles are playing out in society, and how because of our bias we are not looking at it and we are thinking, oh, that's just the rule, but that may not be the so. And then she spoke about how this is the space and it's open for women and for men. But if you realize, women are hardly coming out. Even though it's open for both of them, it's always the men who are coming and sitting out. Maybe women are not feeling comfortable. They need someone to be out there. Because there's no other woman coming out, it's always the space, the common space given to you by hostile people, is always occupied by men. And that's when you kind of realize, oh, you're playing by the rules of the game, which is being imposed to you, but you're just subtly agreeing to it. I know this may be a very trivial example, but some of these things are being pinpointed to you at certain point of time, and I do understand that I do come from a space of privilege. I have seen women, especially in my country, a lot of women who are still struggling to come out, still struggling to get education, still struggling to be the cost barrier just because of their gender, because the family could only support education for one person. I do understand, I do come from privilege, but these are the small, small things that you made you realize, oh, okay, women need to be more forthcoming. We need to create more an equal society where both of us, both gender, can live without thinking so much about the role. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. That's so interesting. That was such an interesting example that you chose. And yeah, I mean, I agree with basically everything that you said. And yeah, it's realizing like what's happening because yeah, it's so normal when you're that's the whole like difficulty about it, right? It's just got so normalized that it's super hard to change. Yeah, and did you grow up with any women role model?
Yes, definitely. I would, like everyone, I would definitely start with my mother. And there are my
Mm-hmm.
grandmothers. All of them were very strong, independent women. More or less, almost felt like they were paving the path for us to move forward. And somewhere I also felt like between my mother and father, my mother was definitely more dominating. And definitely that characteristic did came into me for some. And definitely my grandmother as well. Oh, my mother is working woman, so definitely I took that from her to be more financially independent. Then obviously apart from her, I learned a lot from her to be independent, to ensure that you do prioritize your work, you work hard, then you go on, and when you live your life, you definitely meet a lot of teachers. A lot of my teachers have been great women who have achieved a lot and have always inspired us to do more. Throughout my journey, I have been very lucky to meet a lot of good feminist women who have worked so much and also made us realize what all people have done behind us. The women who have struggled and are still struggling to not only work on their right, but working on the rights of almost 50% of the population. And once, because of their hard work, we are right now sitting on that, have this privilege of going out and talking and expressing ourselves. And we definitely need to be grateful for the people who have worked this hard. So over the period of time, especially in my college and university life, where I've met these people, and we have been thrown light on these lights of all these women, has definitely inspired me a lot and continue to do so for even today. each and every day, actually.
That sounds amazing. It sounds like, yeah, both as a kid and now as an adult, like you have so many amazing women around you. Yeah, and I always find that it gives so much hope as well to see that if we fight enough, we will eventually get equality, hopefully, even though it will take a very long time at this pace. But yeah.
Yeah.
And do you think that the lack of representation of women in society had an impact on you?
I think it certainly definitely has an impact on all of us in some level. Not only women per se, but definitely even both the genders. Patriarchy, at the end of the day, it's not about standing against man, but it's more of like standing for equal right for both the genders. And if both are not equal in one way, there will be definitely someone is getting exploitation would be a more hard work, but more of like one person is working way harder than the other. So obviously over a period of time there would be multiple of such instances where even I would have faced that kind of, but I think I'm currently a product of patriarchy that or more or less courage that my parents or my mother or my grandmother have shown to be who I am. So over a period of time, I felt like I need to be look at this question more from an angle of being grateful rather than uh,
Thank you so much for sharing. And yeah, definitely, like, equality is definitely would be good for everything. Let me be the first to say equality is a good thing. But yeah, no, definitely. I'd like to jump on kind of the second part of this podcast and come
Mhm.
back to what we were talking about earlier and finally
Yeah.
get the chance to hear more and
Yes.
ask all my questions. Can you please tell us what you want to talk to us about today?
Oh, wow. Yes. Okay. I would like to talk about my books. I've been writing a lot of books. So I think it was kind of a journey that I did not decide to take, but it was more like it was decided for me that I need to walk on this path. And trust me, when I said I'd never thought about writing a single word till I age of almost 19, 20, I did not even write a single word. I would even dread writing an email. If I could, I would just go get away with it. But yeah, it so happened that I happened to have a class which was a compulsory class in one of my second year of my school, college, where I have to write a creative writing essay. And I dread it, but I wrote it somehow. And it turned out to be my professor told me that it's one of the best essays. And I was like, what? And I was like, this is the last thing I wanted to do ever. But I also realized that there was an inherent fear of writing inside me. And I realized even if I don't want to be a writer, I, at the end of the day, I do have to write something. Like everyone, every human being have to write something. Like they have to write an essays, they have to write email, text messages, maybe not to the public, but maybe to an personal interaction on one-on-one. So I realized I need to get over this fear of mine. Or maybe there's something out there. Definitely, I wouldn't take it as a career. I wouldn't even consider it. But even if I choose to become a professor in a college, even if I choose to be anything, a mathematician or anything, I still have to write something to people, right? Write about my resume, write about something. So just in order to get over the fear, I decided to start a blog and I decided to write every single day, like every week or something. So I just started putting out my initial first few times. I just realized, oh, if I put this out, what will other people think? And in my just to get out of that roadblock, I decided, okay, I will not think what other people will think. I will just put out my words out there, let people judge, let people say whatever they have to say. I just need to get out of this fear. If I allow this thought to come in, I will not overcome the reason why I started on this journey in the first place. It so happened that I continue writing. Obviously, there was no traction. It was a good thing that there was no traction on that blog because it kind of freed me because no one was paying attention. I was like, I can get away by saying a lot of things because no one is really paying attention. And I can just put my thoughts out in public and just be free. Like it's more like an cathartic exercise, right? You just say what you want to and just be free of it. So I started writing about media, I started writing about feminism, I started writing about politics, I started writing about pop culture, uh, everything. So whatever is to come to my mind, if I liked a certain music, I started writing about the music. I started writing about Sufi music, Rumi, all of those things. And it so happened over the period of time, I started getting thoughts in my head, and I started like having a whole poetry in my head, and I used to note it down. And for a longest period of time, for almost 8 years, I used to think that these thoughts are very normal for any human being to have. Like, you would also have those kind of thought, like to have an entire poetry in your head and you would note it down. It just like for other people, they might be very lazy to note it down. I'm just a person who would just write it down. So that was what is I used to think that every person has a writer within them. It's just that they never pay attention or care enough to write it down. But I think my bubble was bursted. One day, my friend was saying, she kind of asked me, "Oh, you don't never had a writing block as such?" I said, "No, I never get that." And I told her, "No, it's the not writing block. I think everyone has a writer. Everyone get this thought." And she was like, "No, I don't get this kind of thought." I think at that moment I realized, oh, maybe there is something in there. Like maybe there's some gift there that maybe I get this thought and I write it down. So yeah, so that kind of turned into those blocks turned into books. I came up with 5 poetry books, and then poetry books turned into multiple children books. So yeah, it's been quite a journey since then.
This is so cool. I love it. And I love that you were like, okay, yeah, people might judge me, but whatever. And then no one did it, so you continue. That's super cool. Did you ever show your blog to like your friends or people around you, people who you know?
Yeah. Yes, I think I definitely tried promoting it a lot, but it never got any traction. But I think it kind of freed me from a lot of things, because once you have that thing, no, to of an outlet to let it all go out without you can say whatever you want to, but okay, you know that because it's not gonna get any kind of negative review. So I think it's a very good thing too. So I did show it to my lot of my friends. A lot of my books, I have shared it with all of my most of my friends, alumni group, and all of those people. Yeah, they've been received quite well. So I'm happy about it.
That's so cool. And how did you make that jump from poetry to children's book?
Oh wow! I think children book was like a story, very beautiful story. So it started with I was going to this place called Nashik. It's in Maharashtra, where I saw this very, very beautiful horse. When I saw him for the first time, I almost felt like it was the most majestic, beautiful white horse that I've ever seen. Because it was so attractive, I went near him, and when I went near him to look at him, and definitely I'm very fond of animals. So when I saw him, he had a bite. If you know what bites are, bite is nothing but what they put inside their mouth. The horse is what the things which are put inside the mouth. So there are couple of types, different types. So there is one type of bite called spike bite. So basically, the bites are basically put inside the mouth of an horses, and they are tied out, and you pull that string to make it go ahead, right? So spike bites are nothing but there would be thorn, like kind of thorn structure inside the mouth, and those are banned. So they are not supposed to be that they are illegal to be used on horses, but there are certain people who still use them. So government of India has banned those thorns, like thorny bites. And I kind of realized that the horse is very beautiful, but he is finding it's very difficult to close his mouth, and he's struggling to with his mouth, just trying to close it, and he's just trying to get rid of that bite. And I just realized, and I could see that he's very uncomfortable. And then I saw that it was the spike part of the mouth, bite in his mouth. And I told the guy, please remove him. He's struggling. The horse is struggling. Then the guy's like, no, no, no. This is how it works here. He's supposed to be like that. And I was like, why? And obviously, I had no idea what are all of these things are. And this is my first time interacting with horse in this way. I definitely Googled it out, like asking Google, okay, what exactly is this? And then I came across, oh, these are spike bike and they are illegal. And PETA and all of these organizations are working towards completely banning of this spike bites. And I was shocked that this person is using these bites. So in a lot of places in Maharashtra and all of those places, there people are still using them because they think that if you torture animal more, they will work more for you. So that's their mentality. And I was shocked. I was like, what is happening? At that moment, I think and they said, since it's illegal, you can put a complaint. I definitely filed a complaint against him. But next day I have to leave, but I don't know. Hopefully the police came and tried rescuing the horse. So that's what happened. And that kind of when I came back to my home in Mumbai, the story kind of stuck it with me. I was like, I need to do something about the horse. I need to do something. So that's when I wrote my first children book on how a girl who came to Nashik, she found this horse and she helped the horse being rescued from this the owner who was being very not nice to her. And because what really happens if you use those spike bite a lot, the horses might cut their tongue and might find it very difficult to eat. And definitely, since you're having that for a very long time, it does have a psychological impact on horses as well. So that became my first book, children books. Since then, I never thought I would continue writing children book, but one thing led to another, one thing led to another. So I keep getting these thoughts. I never went out hunting for them. It just the idea keep popping up for me, and I was like, okay, fine, I will write another book. So yeah, one thing led to another, and yeah, so I'm on my fifth children book right now, sixth actually. So yeah.
That's so cool. Well, like obviously the it's not cool at all for the horse. It's
Yeah.
horrifying, and I do hope as well that they found that person and forbidden them to have animals or whatever they can do. But I'm glad it I don't know if I'm glad. I don't know how to say what I want to say, but I'm glad you wrote that a book about that. That's super super cool. Like actions that you can take from that, I guess. And really cool to be at your sixth book now. Yeah. How did you
Ah, yes. Publishing, yes. Publishing, it has been a task for me. Like, I think one thing this journey has taught me is resilience, or more or less like, I wouldn't say never giving up attitude, but more of like just taking it easy in a way, not putting too much pressure on myself. Because initially I did, because like I said, I have been on this journey for almost 13 years now. So met, emailed about hundreds of publishers, got rejected like anything. But over a period of time, I kind of realized it's all about timing. When it's your time, it's that's when you will shine. You just don't have to be bitter about it. Things will come to you when they are meant to. You can't fast forward the process, and it's important that thing happen when they are supposed to happen. Because if you try and fast forward it, you think you are ready, but you are not technically ready. So publishing has been that journey for me since I got rejected so much for so long for so many books. I definitely went on self publishing for the first 9 books of my journey, because after struggling for first 2 or 3 books, after that I kind of gave up. I was like, okay, maybe this is not my path for me. So I think lesson number one for my self-reliance come here, where you're just like, maybe it's I'm on my own and I need to do it on my own. So definitely I went on the path of self-publishing. I self-published almost all my books. The last one, children book, I happened to met a very good publisher. So that person is going to publish my last book. So hopefully looking forward for it. Like, let's see how does the this side of the journey will look like, because till now I have been self-publishing almost all my books. Yeah.
That's so cool. Stupid question. How do you self-publish a book?
Ah, yes. Amazon. Amazon is like the best platform right now. I would vouch for it any day. All you have to do is it's pretty straightforward and simple. So Amazon will publish your book on Kindles. So all you have to do is go on Kindle. I think there's one site on Amazon. You just have to go fill in your simple detail, upload the book in PDF format if you have it, or they will give you a document like a formatted document on which you can just copy paste your books, and after that it just takes couple of minutes to publish your book. So it is pretty straightforward and simple in a way, where they will review your book, and if they find it there is no issue with copyrights and all of those things, they will definitely publish it. So after that there is definitely a little marketing struggle that you need to learn, but all of these things are absolutely free on YouTube. So everything is just a Google away. All you have to do is just go on YouTube, figure out how do you publish your book on Amazon, how do you market book on Amazon. All of these things are just out there. So YouTube and Google are answer, and definitely now we have Chat GPT. It will make your life even more simple. Just ask Chat GPT.
Oh my god, amazing. So you've done everything by yourself, basically.
Yes, yeah. Till now, yes.
Wow. And you're continuing. That's amazing. Can I be super noisy and ask what your next book is about, or is that confidential?
No. It's gonna be out there soon. So my next book is pretty interesting. Again, like I said, I didn't go out for hunting for it. It just came to me, and this time it came to me through my dreams. So no hard work.
Ooh.
No, I didn't even get out of my bed. Yeah, I think I was lazy this time. So I was sleeping. I had this dream. So if you know Lord Krishna, I had a dream of Lord Krishna, and that book is completely based on me interacting with Lord Krishna. So that's a beautiful story. I think a lesson that I constantly need to remind myself, a lesson that he tells me in the end, where I am constantly trying to achieve things before I'm supposed to achieve them, or like run, because we all are in rat race and we're constantly trying to achieve that end goal, and trying to do that. But I think the lessons that he tells me is that things will happen to you when they are supposed to happen. Be in the moment, and that's where the magic lies. So that's the book all about. It's the crux of the book. So yeah, I have written it from a children point of because and it's a story. It's a beautiful story of a rat and Lord Krishna and a girl. So I'm very sure that children will enjoy it, because somewhere I feel that I think I haven't written this book. I think I kind of became a medium through which this book has to come to children. So I am very grateful that he chose me, and hopefully it will reach to students or the children who is supposed to read that thing. So yeah, very grateful for this journey.
Amazing. Do you know already when it's gonna come out?
Hopefully within 2 months.
Amazing. That's so exciting. And was there anyone who had an impact on your writing books? Well, I guess you talked at the beginning about your teacher. But yeah, was there anyone, like, I don't know if you want to talk more about them or anyone
Yeah.
else who had an impact on this?
Oh, yes, definitely. I do not consider myself so much of a reader. Unfortunately, I should, but I do not gravitate so much for reading. If I like something, I would reread it again and again and again. And that's what who I am. And Hermann Hesse, he's a German writer. He won a Nobel Prize. I somehow find his writing very intriguing. Him and Rabindranath Tagore. These are two people who I keep on going back again and again, rereading their books. The third person who I would definitely recommend, or like love, I'm nowhere close to like, uh, but I would definitely love have his flow of thought is Rumi, so the poet Rumi. So yeah, these three people are definitely top my list. Who I just love their writing style, the way they understand human beings, the complexity of our emotion. When the character is trying to say something, but he's trying to mean something else, and what goes inside his head, how the other person is receiving it, what is the perception. So I find that's very intriguing. Like, I find human beings pretty complex and interesting at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, it must be so interesting. Do you have to simplify that complexity for children?
Hmm. Uh, yes and no, because I feel the one thing that I am very sure, like when I write something, I always ensure that it's coming from a space of truth. And human being or the children per se, I think they also undo understand something. They may not be able to articulate it that well, but feelings are something that every human beings feel. So I never tried to simplify my writing for them, but I always felt that they would understand it. So, or maybe my writing is not that. So if I take all these people like be it Tagore or be it Rumi, if I ask children to read it, they love it equally. So I never felt the need to dumb it down or simplify it just because my audience are children. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that makes so much sense. It's like telling them about the complexity of the world.
Yes. Eventually they're gonna grow up and live, be a part of it.
Exactly. And what challenges have you faced?
Every day is kind of a challenge. Currently, obviously, publishing it because this is my first phase with going with a proper publisher. Marketing, podcasting is completely new for me. Yeah, all of these things definitely. Every day is a new learning, so all of these things are challenging. Yeah.
Yeah, how has that been to work for the first time with an editor, a publisher?
Well, it feels like since I have been on this journey, but it's always been me alone. It feels like okay, now I have kind of an helping hand or someone could guide me. So that's a refreshing thing to have, definitely. To know that okay, there's someone out there who definitely care for my book as much as I do. So that's a very good thing to have. Challenges. I won't say challenges, but I am looking forward for this journey in terms of obviously having a publisher would definitely give me way more reach, especially for children because when it comes to adults, obviously you can get away with publishing it online because they can read a digital copy and they're very quite comfortable with it. But children need a hard copy, and to have a publisher with me would definitely give me that leverage to reach that audience. And somewhere also I feel that since that dream came to me, it is my responsibility to ensure that a dream also reaches to children who is supposed to be meant to be reached for. Yeah.
Yeah, that's super cool. And was there anything on the contrary that was easier than you thought would have been?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Where at the end of the day, if you have a publisher, a lot of the responsibility that you are shouldering on your shoulder for so long, kind of you have someone else to hand over to, where they can take care of marketing, they can take care of some, they can bring in new ideas to the table where you didn't thought about because it was only your one mind working on the project. But now there are multiple people who can guide you through. There are multiple people who definitely these people have also been in the industry for a very long time. They understand the business way more than you would ever. So definitely it felt like an helping hand and like you feel like you can have a breath because there's someone else doing the job and you are not.
Yeah, I guess like for once you're not doing everything on your own. That must be really nice. And how long does it take to write a book?
Hmm. Depends. For me, I'm a very fast writer. I do not sit on, especially like obviously initial years, 10 years back that down the line, I would have struggled a lot more. But these days, since it's children book, I do not take that much longer. I finish it within a month or so, or less
Oh,
actually.
wow. Wow,
Writing
that's
part and
amazing.
definitely the rest other things. Yeah.
Wow, that's super impressive.
Yeah.
That's super cool. And why are you proud of this?
Wow. Krishna and so my last book's name is Krishna and Me. Uh, I think I'm proud of it because somewhere I feel uh, it's coming from an divine source. Like I almost feel like I'm a medium. So I'm grateful that Story chose me rather than me looking out for going out and hunting for it. It was just like I was just sleeping and the story came to me. So that's what I felt like I'm really proud for. I don't know what Lord Krishna thought I was the right person to go and say about it, but yeah, it just so happened. The way the story has come out.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. We're gonna
Yeah.
conclude our episode on this. Thank you so so much. That
Thank
was
you so
so
much.
interesting.
Yes, thank you so much.
Before we finish, is there anything that we haven't talked about during our discussion that you wanted to mention?
I think we covered almost everything.
Amazing. Well, thank you so, so much, Namita. This was
Thank
so
you.
interesting. And yeah, as always, I'll put all your details in the show notes so anyone can go and have a look.
Yes,
And yeah,
thank
thank
you so
you.
much.
And there is a tradition on this podcast that the guest gets the very last word. So the mic is yours.
Thank you so much. Well, I would like to conclude by my favorite quote that Krishna says to me, even in my dream and also in towards the book, is to live in the moment, and that's where the magic lies, not tomorrow or not yesterday.